Well, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about three stocks today: GME and AMC at the request of Black Mamba, and SPWR to finish it off for Chris Wild Fong. We're talking about these for you guys. Yeah, AMC and GME, guys. It's nice to see them doing well. Finally, right, doing some crazy things that we haven't seen since the last crypto cycle, bull cycle, actually. Looking at GME to start this off, we're up 179% this week. Looking at the volume profile that we've seen, it's not the biggest, right? It's not the greatest volume that we've ever seen. It looks small in scale to this, but if we really look at it for what it is, that's the most volume that we've seen, you guys, in over 3 years. That's the most volume we've seen in over 3 years, and it happened this week. I would absolutely call that a breakout candle. Now, does that mean that it's only upside from here? Does it mean that it's not? You know, like what does this mean? Remains to be seen, I suppose. But I would expect a little bit of a pullback to come on something like this. It is possible, you know, it's at $48 now. It is possible that it could drop below $30 again. It's completely possible that it could move up a whole nother 100% from here and then pull back. You know, who's to say? But let's look at the indicators and see if we can come up with a better kind of idea. Looking at the RSI on the weekly here, it's very strong readings. You are deep into the overbought zone. 3 days left in the week. Does make me think that you could pull back a little bit. I want to take a look at the relative fibs here. We're looking at the high to the low. Double bottom, nice, all the way up to your 61869 area. Yeah, I kind of do expect you pull back, potentially to $34, potentially to $25. You're at 48 now. A little bit of a pullback, I think, would be called for. We look at the daily. That's a nice little gap fill you had there. The daily is hot, sitting at a 96, 97 on the RSI, very hot. Closed above the 618 today, beautiful to see on the first attempt through it, which actually is a pretty bullish thing. I would expect that you go down from here. I would expect that you do. Maybe you don't go down to $25, but I think a move down to 30. I mean, you've already done it though. You've already moved. You already moved down to $34, and now you're up. The way the RSI looks, I would expect you to go down, but maybe you don't go to 34. Maybe you do hold the $40 area. $38, $40, something like that. I think you move down from here tomorrow, but I think you do. I think you want to keep going up, GME. Guys, that's crazy. This thing wants to keep going up. Let's see how you do with $90, man. You break above $90.50, it's on to multi-$100 prices. So it's hard to say, but I'm pretty confident this thing wants to keep going. This might be something. This might be the beginning of something beautiful. And if it doesn't start rather immediately, perhaps you consolidate a little bit more for a time, and then it happens later down the road. But either way, this is the beginning. This is definitely the beginning of something I think that will take the prices above $240, potentially as high as $576 or higher. And genuinely speaking, that's absolutely possible. We look at the market cap for GME. Market cap is 14.9. Let's call it 15 billion. At a $15 billion market cap, a 4x growth, which that's actually about a 5x growth. That would give you what, a 75 billion? Is that right? 5x from 15 billion? I think so. 75 billion. That's a high market cap, but it's absolutely achievable. Especially for a stock like this, man. You know, seeing a, am I doing this wrong? A 5x on 15 billion, that'd be 75, right? Yeah, it's 15 billion. A 10x on 15 would be 150 billion. Okay, I mean, yeah, maybe you don't see 576, but 240 is absolutely in the cards. Something in between this. That's all I'm trying to say for GME. Inevitably down the line, but for now, being that you've been moving down, being that you are in a relative area of resistance, I think that you are getting ready to move up higher, but just how much higher do you move? Will you get above this 886? I'm not so sure. You've found resistance in this area once, twice, 3 times already. You might find resistance there again at about $90. So Until then, I think you are moving up slowly. I think you're moving up, but this initial pump where you've moved up 179% this past week, don't expect more of that over the coming weeks. It might be going up still, but not this crazy. Probably for a while. You're probably going to consolidate. But again, anything could happen. Who knows? This could be the beginning of that in the more immediate terms. But my genuine thoughts off of the analysis that I've done is that likely tomorrow you will move down a little bit. I don't think you go below this low here at $36. You're at $49.40 right now. I don't think you go below $36. But I do think you go lower. And then inevitably higher. I do think that relatively soon you're going to go above this high at $65-ish. You're going to go above that. I think you are going to reach for $90, if not at least 69 or 70 bucks. Yeah, you know, something like that, if not 90. I just don't think that you're going to break above it, essentially, and then you'll consolidate for a little while. But that's GME. AMC now. I hope that made sense. I hope it wasn't too confusing. AMC up 31% on the daily, up 135% on the weekly. Beautiful to see. Oversold as hell, bro. Very ugly looking RSI. You just had a bounce, a nice kind of random bounce. A lot of volume came in, probably a short squeeze, you know, of sorts. I wouldn't expect much of this personally. Movie theaters, you guys, they're on their way out. It's a dying industry. I worked in the industry for a little while. It was one of my first jobs. Actually, I worked in the industry for a long time. I think it was 3.5 years. I say a long time. 3.5 years isn't that long, but I mean that's longer than most people this day and age hold on to a job for. Especially whenever I was doing it, which I was only a teenager. But 3.5 years, you know, and it's a dying industry. That's what all the higher ups would always talk about, and it was a corporate job, you know, that I had. But all the higher ups would always talk about how they don't know what's going to happen in 10 to 20 years. You know, all the movie theaters in all the local small towns are getting shut down. Movie theaters in the cities will do well. You know, it's always probably going to be a thing to do in the city. But movie theaters around the country, they're going out of business because, I mean, streaming services, people could just watch it at home. Nobody needs to wait to see like months to see a DVD anymore. I don't know. I'm going on a whole tangent here. I just think AMC will probably never come back. Not to say that it can't go higher from here. Just I don't think you'll ever see its all-time highs ever again. I think it's done. And being that you just came from your fresh new all-time lows in April of this year, I think that that's a testament to the fact that this party's just getting started to the downside. However, you have had a nice bounce. You are at an area in the RSI where you've found resistance a couple times. Relatively speaking, you do find resistance more at that 55 area. I'd be curious to see your week pull back more. You're at 685 now. Watch you close the week down at about $5 and bring this RSI back down to this area that you've been finding resistance at. Or maybe I'm wrong and you'll go higher. Either way, you know, you found resistance here at this relative area of resistance, previous areas of support. This is really not a good look. This week, as fun as it is for anybody who's holding AMC, you know, if you bought down here, you're doing great. You're loving life. It might be a good time to get out. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. But I wouldn't expect, just like for GME, I wouldn't expect the following weeks to be just like this week was. I do think you will go higher first. I think before you go lower than this low here, you will go higher than this high. But from the current price at $6.85, you really could move down to $5 or lower first as well. So just be aware of that. You know what? I'm not even going to use that fib. We're going to use this fib here. Low to high. 1414 tipped, bro. Love to see it. Yeah, I think you could work your way back up. All in all, you're at 685 now. Before you go lower than this low, who knows, man? You might work your way all the way back up to like $41. $32 to $42, somewhere in that range. I would think at least around like 1561. You reached up for it there, but didn't quite get there. I would think at least like 1560s, 1570s. That's my personal thoughts. But yes, there's a lot of volume that you've never seen before. But I don't know, man. Like who cares? I don't think this thing's I don't know. I mean, I do think that it's going to move up from here. I just don't think that you're going to see prices above this ever again. I think you're slowly going to work your way up, right? What this really was, this isn't the mark of getting things started to the upside. I mean, it is, but really what it is, it's a mark, it's a halt in the downside, right? So you've just unleashed hell to these all-time lows. You've had a little bit of a recoil to that. You might consolidate, right, to the upward side because you are in a downtrend, and then once you hit like this prevailing trend line, whatever, that's not the perfect drawn line, but you can kind of see what I'm going for, right? If we take away the fibs here, you know, whenever you interact with this prevailing trend, that's probably when you're going to reject and then go lower. And yes, I said targets as high as 32 to 42, but you could stop at 21, you could stop at 18 or 15, who knows? But all that to say, if you're buying and holding AMC for the midterm, I'm sure it does well for you. If you're day trading it and looking to get into a position, now is probably not the time, but you know, who knows? I would expect that you go a little bit lower, but time will tell. All that to say, yeah, AMC's looking good for the foreseeable future. I say foreseeable, I should say for the near-term future, maybe even the midterm. But all in all, I think this thing's a dumpster fire. As the years go on, it'll prove to be that, for what it's worth. But again, I'm saying that perhaps for the rest of this year, it does great. It grows more in total for the rest of the year than it has already this week. Right? It's up 135% this week. It could do more than double that with the rest of the year from its current price. Absolutely, it could. But anyways, that's AMC. If I wasn't clear, because I feel like I wasn't clear, I think it goes down a little bit from here, and then it goes up. Over time, it'll work its way up, methodically, probably. You won't see a move to the price that I'm talking about. It won't be like this. It won't be in a week. It'll be in months, right? Months. That's AMC. SPWR for Chris Wildfong, SunPower Corporation. Also doing some bullish things, up 90% this week. Lovely. A lot of volume coming off of all-time lows. Ooh. Yeah, you are. You know, I don't know anything about this company, and that's okay. You don't need to know anything about companies to do technical analysis on them. That's the beautiful thing about it. Engineering and construction, industrial services. Bullish divergence formed there. Of course, you're right at that area now. You probably consolidate for a little bit. I would say the same thing as the other two. You probably aren't going to move up dramatically higher. Like you've seen the dramaticness, I don't know. You've seen the entirety of this move already, essentially, right? Maybe not the entirety, but most of it. If you were to move up from this high here, this relative high, it would be by just a little bit, right? I doubt that you're going to see moves like this day after day. It could happen, but I doubt it. You're probably going to reconcile this pump a little bit, which from low to relative high could call for price to move back down to 361. You're at 440 right now, so 361 is on the table. Really 360 to 340 probably. Makes sense to me. Let's say 370 to 340. Even all the way back down to like 270 as well could be on the table. But yeah, time will tell with that. Inevitably, yes, I think you found a local low. I think you have on a weekly basis. How high will you go from here? That's the real question, you know. At a minimum, I would think you go up to $6.70. You could be working your way up inevitably to $15.20, 1953, something like that over time. It could be sometime next year. It could be by the end of this year. It could be sometime, you know, maybe at the end of next year or something like that. But I would think over the next year or so you work your way up there. Will you go past it? That's an entirely different question. I don't know. Time will tell. But we're nowhere near that now. Let's see how you do with 668. And first, I mean, probably prices below $4 again. Probably go down a little bit. But yeah, you've probably found a local low, and you'll work your way up over time to there. And then who knows, maybe it's a lower low or lower high, and then you go down. I don't know. That's that. That's that, man. Daily's looking strong. I wouldn't expect immediate continuation in any of these. If you do move up higher than this high, again, that high's at what, 5 63. If you move past that high, I doubt it's going to be like all the way up here. You're not going to get a move like this again for a while probably. So at least not to the upside. Anyways, hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you all for coming. Take care. Bye bye.